Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dafty in the Garden video with me, Sean. This week we're going to be looking at 8 mistakes we all can make when starting off our own vegetable gardens. So before I say let's go on with it, I just want to say, do you know I comment on every single video in the first 24 hours when our video goes live? And if you want to test me on it, go ahead. Anywho, that's enough sidetracking. Let's. So what is the number one biggest mistake that we all can do when starting off our own vegetable gardens? Well, the one for me, the biggest mistake that I would feel is that you just don't get started. You know that image, that dream that you have in your brain, I'm talking to you, that image, that dream that you have is right there, and you don't know where to start. Well, I'm just going to say it, just start. And I know that sounds ridiculous. If I knew where to start, I would just start. I'm serious, just start. If it's gardening, plant a pot, plant something in a plot, plant 2, just small areas, just 1 or 2, just to get started. If you can't do it in the garden, do it in the house, a windowsill, something small. I swear, the dream, well, it'll follow. It takes work, but it will, I promise you, you just need to start. The second biggest mistake in gardening is being discouraged, either by a small crop or little to no growth. That's okay, that's how we learn, and to be honest with me, that's half the fun. If we always had a perfect crop, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But if it was always a perfect crop, it would be rather boring. And for me, for example, the first time I grew pumpkins, I grew them in that pot. There's a link somewhere at the top. I grew it in the pot and there was no pumpkins at all. I had 0. The next year I grew them again and I had 4 massive pumpkins. This year I'm going to grow them again and hopefully, you know, who knows, I might get none, I might get some. It's half the fun, and hopefully what I learned last year when I grew the 4 goes to this year. Let's talk about the third biggest mistake, the water source. Now, water's life, everything, and for plants especially. So if you're watering too little, they're going to die. You think in Scotland that wouldn't be an issue for me because it's wet all the time. It's actually raining slightly now, but I digress. One of the things that I've had an issue with is the water source being too far away. Now, as you can see from my garden here now, I've got a sprinkler and that's attached to a hose that goes all the way to my main water source. Now, that's great for this raised garden bed, but it's not great for anywhere else I want to grow. For example, if you follow me now, as you can see I have this green one here as well that's attached to the main source, but I can disconnect that and fill up watering cans, or I can attach a smaller hose to reach other parts of this back garden. But I've got potatoes and other things I'm growing at the front of the house, and because it's in a watering can, half the time I forget to water and they get neglected. So if you've not got a water source more suitable for where you need it to be, you can neglect your plants very easily, and that's a mistake that I'm still working on. The fourth mistake ties in pretty well with the third mistake, that's moisture, which I would say correlates with underestimating the power of mulching. Mulching, I would believe, is one of the best ways for me to actually control a lot of things that happen in my garden. Now, I use a paper mulch, which is basically just a waste product of my letters and other things like that in the house. But there's many different ways, but the main reason of mulch is so that you can trap in the moisture in your soil so there's less watering. Also, if you've got a heavy enough mulch, it'll help prevent weeds and it'll help build up next year's soil as it breaks down. The fifth mistake that all gardeners do, even myself at one point, is forgetting where your sun is. What I mean by that is, it's in Scotland, so I barely get any sun. But when you do, these sun, most flowers and most plants and veg will need full sun. in my garden is this area here. So you need to know where your sun is in the property. So if you've got somewhere that's dark, gloomy, like I've got a tunnel, look at this. I wouldn't be growing any plants in here. I could, but they wouldn't do well. So knowing exactly where your sun is and will be throughout the year will help you with your vegetable garden. This is why I chose here. And the sixth worst mistake you can do is planting in the wrong time of year. Now, what I mean by that is we can all start in a greenhouse earlier. All plants can get in there earlier, but when they're ready to start producing fruits and things like that, then you're not going to have the beneficial wildlife that it needs. Bees, flies, but moths, everything that will actually help your plants pollinate, and you're setting yourself up for failure straight off the bat. But you can always hand pollinate, and if you know how to do that, you're off to a good start if you're going to plant at the wrong time of the year. Starting off, grow things you actually want to grow. If it's flowers, grow flowers. If it's strawberries, grow strawberries. If it's onions, grow onions. Just make sure you enjoy it and actually there's a use for it. Because think of the wastage. It would be disappointing if you grow something, you spent all that time and love and energy into that, growing that, and then at the end of it, there was no point because you didn't like it to start with. So grow things you actually like. The eighth and final mistake that all gardeners and people just watching this video haven't done already, well, most of you, is not liking, comment and subscribing. Shameless plug, I know. Oh, shameless. That's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Underrate. Like the Lion King says. Remember the end when the lion says to Simba, so it says, everywhere the lion touches belongs to you. And wee Simba goes, what about the grey bit all there? The dark grey bit? And he says, don't go there. There's hyenas there.